Raymond had graduated for years, but life after school was like a stubborn mosquito. It refused to give him peace. No job anywhere. His CV had traveled more than him. He carried it to offices, labeled it to other states, prayed over it, but the only call he kept getting was from his landlord. Then one day he met some fine-dressed young men who spoke big grammar and wore shiny shoes. They introduced him to network marketing. This is the business of the future, one of them told him confidently. If you join us today, tomorrow you will start living like a boss. Just find your prospects, build your team, and watch your life change. Raymond's eyes lit up. He imagined himself with big cars and maybe even a fridge full of chicken. He said yes immediately. But from the very first day, he realized it wasn't what he thought. They gave him one pack of vitamins that was so expensive. He almost cried while paying for it. Don't worry, they told him. This is not spending, this is investment. Once you sell it, you will get your money back with good profits, because in this company, we deal with health and wealth, with all the plenty grammar. The problem was, who would buy, because the vitamins were so costly? Raymond tried. He wore his only one good shirt, polished his old shoe that was already limping like a tired soldier, and started moving from house to house, office to office, looking for prospects. He would sit people down and explain passionately. He drew circles on paper, showing how wealth will multiply. The prospect will nod and smile, but at the end, they will simply say, nice idea. I will think about it. That I will think about it became a national anthem. Even the small money he should have used for food, he used it to buy more products just to increase his PV points. Soon, his room was full of vitamins, creams and teas that nobody wanted. At night, he slept surrounded by unsold cartons. Sometimes he joked bitterly to himself. If hunger comes knocking, at least these vitamins will send it back. And to make things worse, his shoes started embarrassing him. He would stand in front of people talking about financial freedom, but his shoe was wide open in the front like it was laughing. One man even told him, "My brother, if money is water in your company, then this your shoe is already testing." Still, Raymond refused to give up. Every morning he would dress up, carry his products back, and step out like a soldier going to war. And his new career in network marketing turned him into something he never expected. A trekker. From morning to evening, he was always on the road, chasing prospects that were always promising but never buying. He trekked from one office to another, from one bus stop to another, and sometimes even across town, just to meet someone who said, "Come by, I want to hear about the business." When he arrived, sweating and panting, the person would smile and say, "Oh, sorry, Raymond. Is it all this bring two and those two will bring another two people? Ah, my brother, I am sorry, but I can't do it." His shoes suffered the most. At first, they were just old, but after all the trekking, they became bent to the side, like they were whispering secrets to the ground. If you looked at him from behind, you would think the shoes were leading him sideways against his will. One day, he walked into a hall for a presentation. He tried to walk smartly, but his shoes were dragging him left and right. A small boy pointed and shouted, "Mommy, see Uncle's shoes. They are doing trafficator." The whole place burst out laughing. But Raymond didn't stop. Rain or sun, he trekked. Sometimes he looked like a marathon runner without medal. Other times he looked like someone chasing his own shadow. He began to avoid buses because he didn't want to waste transport money. Instead, he would say, "Let me trek. It is also exercise." But deep down, it wasn't about exercise. It was hunger economy management. Each time he felt like giving up, he would meet his upline, the sharp guy who brought him into the business. This upline was always fresh, always smiling, and his perfume announcing him from 1 mile away. "Brother Raymond," he would say, slapping his back, "don't worry, you're on the right path. I was once like you, struggling, broke, and trekking like a village crusader. But look at me now. I drive my own car, I live in my own house, and I even invested in real estate. Your turn is coming. Raymond's eyes will brighten immediately. Wow, for real? He asked, forgetting that his own shoe had started bowing sideways like it wanted to resign. His upline then invited him to seminars because to them as networkers, seminars were like revival services. People dressed sharp, speaking big English and carried motivational fire in their voices. One after the other, people would come forward to share testimonies. A young lady said, "Before this business, I was a nobody. But now I am a landlady and I just bought my second car last month." Another man stood and said, "I was sleeping on my friend's couch, but through this business I have 3 houses and have been to 2 countries. Something I never had imagined all my life." The hall exploded with claps and shouts of yes and freedom. And truly, they didn't look like liars. Their cars were parked outside. Their suits were shining and their shoes were not bent like Raymond's own. Everything looked real. Raymond will leave those seminars bubbling with fresh fire, telling himself, "If they made it, I too will make it. Hunger will not and cannot kill me before success comes." Even when he got home to his small room filled with unsold vitamins, creams and teas, he will pass the cartons like children and say, "Don't worry, very soon all of you will leave this house and bring me plenty money." His face was unshakable because his upline's pocket was always fat. And anytime he felt down, he would remember the testimonies, the cars, the houses, the real estate, and convinced himself it is only but a matter of time. After hearing those hot testimonies at the seminar, Raymond came out with fire burning in his chest. His upline told him, "Raymond, don't worry. If you can't convince people yet, just bring them to the seminar. Once they hear the success stories, they will join. Let the system work for you." That was how Raymond became a one-man evangelist for network marketing. The next morning, he packed a bundle of colorful flyers that promised financial freedom, travel the world and own your dream car. The way he heard those flyers, you would think there were keys to heaven's gates. He hit the streets like a campaigner. At bus stops, he waved the flyers like a referee card. "My people, come for a powerful seminar. Just spend 1 hour of your time and your life will never be the same again." Some pedestrians collected the flyers politely, only to fold them and dispose them. Others didn't even slow down, and a few gave him a bombastic side eye. Still, Raymond didn't give up. He kept on saying, "Brother, sister, this opportunity will change your life." One day, one man laughed and replied, "Oga, if this business is as sweet as you say, why is your shoe leaning to the left like it wants to fall inside gutter?" But Raymond forced a smile. "Don't worry, very soon I will buy shoes that will walk straight to Canada." He gathered a few people who agreed to follow him. They were not the sharp type. One came because she thought they'd be free food. Another just wanted somewhere to sit and escape the sun. They entered the seminar hall and sat down. Raymond watched them with pride, whispering to himself, "At least my team is forming." Then the program started. The big men and women shared their stories again about cars, houses, and trips abroad. The crowd clapped. Raymond kept glancing at his guests and praying silently, "Oh Lord, let these people sign up today." But by the end of the seminar, the guests clapped politely, stood up and told him, "Thank you, we will think about it." They walked away smiling and Raymond's heart sank. That we would think about it was beginning to sound like a national pledge. Still, his upline encouraged him. "Brother Raymond, this is the process. Don't give up. Bring more people. One day it will surely click." And with that motivation, Raymond packed more flyers. He was ready to hit the streets again, but his shoes were bending more. His pockets were crying louder, yet his faith was very strong. His new lifestyle became from seminar to seminar, street to street, with flyers in his hand like church rats. But there was a serious problem. Money has finished. At first, he managed his little savings, but all of it went into PV points and products that were now decorating his room like museum items. Transport became his new headache, but because he was determined to succeed at all costs, he turned to his family. "Please, just help me with small money for transport," he told his younger sister. "Once this business clicks, you will never suffer again." She gave him 500 naira and weeks passed with no refund. Next, he met his cousin. "Brother, I beg, lend me 1,000 naira. I must attend this seminar. My breakthrough is near." His cousin gave him reluctantly. Very soon, everybody in his family had the same story. Raymond borrowed and never paid back. Anytime he came visiting, they would hide their wallets. If he greeted, "Good afternoon," they would reply, "Good afternoon, no money." The funny part, after borrowing money from them, he would still try to recruit them into the same business. "Auntie, this is your chance. If you join me now, very soon we'll be millionaires." But Auntie looked at him and hissed, "Raymond, you that cannot return ordinary 2,000 naira want me to invest 50,000 naira? My friend, go and bring my money before you bring me into anything." It got so bad that his family started using him as an example. "Don't borrow Raymond money. That boy is not owing even his own shadow." Meanwhile, Raymond continued trekking because whenever transport failed, his legs were always available. His shoes, however, were now crying for deliverance because they were bent completely to the side, like they were begging for retirement. Children in the compound nicknamed him Uncle Diagonal. Still, Raymond kept his faith. He told himself, "One day, just one day, I will surprise all of them." But until then, his family refused to support him, and his unpaid borrowings made it impossible to convince them to join. After all the trekking, flyers, begging, and unpaid borrowings, something finally happened. One hot afternoon, Raymond convinced 3 people to register under him. It was like winning a lottery. He couldn't believe his eyes when his upline confirmed it. His points rose up on the company app, and for the first time since he joined, his dashboard looked alive. Every minute, he checked his phone. He refreshed the page so often that even his phone battery started begging for mercy. He would smile at the screen, whispering, "Ah, very soon I will cash out." He started walking with confidence. His bare shoes were still dragging sideways, but in his mind, he was already prizing new Italian leather shoes. His motivation returned. He was ready to bring the whole village into the business now. He even called his cousin whom he owed money and said, "Brother, forgive the small debts. Just join me now because there is light at the end of this very tunnel." Everything seemed to be working until 2 days to his first cash out. That was when stories started flying around. One morning, his upline sent a voice note. "My people, don't panic. The company is upgrading their system and payments are still processed." Another leader said, "Just exercise patience. This is for our own good. After the upgrade, we will all enjoy bigger rewards." But the upgrade stretched from hours to days and from days to weeks. And very soon, people stopped receiving calls. Offices were locked. The seminar hall that used to be full of motivational fire now became as empty as a deserted classroom. Finally, whispers turned into confirmation. The company had folded. That day, Raymond sat on his bed surrounded by cartons of unsold products, staring at his phone screen. The dashboard still showed his points shining brightly, but no cash outs, no no alert and no hope. He shook his head. So after all my trekking, after all my bending shoes and all my borrowing, now only stories I carry go home? Even his shoes seemed to laugh at him, opening its mouth wider than ever, as if to say, Oga, next time just buy bread with your money. Raymond's heart was broken like cheap glass, but instead of keeping quiet, he decided to look for his upline, the same man who used to slap his back and say, Brother, success is near. He found him sitting outside the cafe looking less shiny than before. Raymond dragged the chair and sat down, his face tight with frustration. Brother, Raymond began, his voice trembling. What do I do with my life now? What about the money still showing on my dashboard? Every day I checked it like my Bible. Now it's stuck there and my account is empty. The upline sighed deeply and shook his head. Raymond, please calm down. We are all in the same boat. I was also affected. I lost plenty too in that business. But Raymond's eyes widened. He slammed his palm on the table. No, sir. Don't say we are in the same boat. You enjoyed from that company. You bought a car. You built a house. You traveled abroad several times and you were eating fried rice and chicken in Dubai while I was drinking garri with granuts here in Lagos. So don't tell me we are in the same boat too. His voice grew louder and people passing by began to stare. But Raymond didn't care. His pain was overflowing. He continued. Since the day I joined this business, I have not eaten shishi. Instead of cashing out, I cashed in my last kobo. I trekked like an Israelite looking for the promised land. Look at my shoe. He lifted his leg and placed it on the chair. The poor shoe was bent shamefully to one side, the mouth wide open like it wanted to confess. This shoe entered fire and water for this business. People mocked me every day that children even had to nickname me Uncle Diagonal. I borrowed money from my family and I couldn't pay them back. His voice cracked, but he kept on talking. Now, when I finally managed to bring 3 people and my dashboard was smiling at me, suddenly story entered. Upgrade this, upgrade that. So today, no money and no hope. So tell me, sir, what will I do with my life now? The upline tried to speak. Raymond, you need to understand. But Raymond raised his hand. No, sir, don't give me motivational talk again. I've been motivated enough to trek from Lagos to Jericho. Motivation cannot buy shoe. Motivation cannot buy food. You enjoyed, but I carried suffering. We are not in the same boat. If anything, you were in a cruise ship while I was paddling canoe with Hole. The cafe went silent. Then someone at the corner burst out laughing. The upline sat back speechless. For the first time, Raymond felt lighter. He had finally poured out all the bitterness he carried. His suffering, his trekking, his mockery, and his bent shoe. He stood up. Then he walked away with his shoes dragging like tired prophets. His last hope was the screenshot of the money on his dashboard. It became his only evidence that he once almost became a millionaire. One day he sat on his bed holding his phone like a sacred relic. He opened the screenshot again and stared at it for long. The digits were still there shining like glory, but the website itself was no longer logging in. Every time he tried, it only showed error or site not found. He let out a deep sigh like Job of old. Lord, empty I went into that business and empty I returned. The dashboard was given and the dashboard was taken away. Tears welled in his eyes. He looked around his small room. Cartons of unsold vitamins were mocking him silently. His clothes were hanging loosely on his frame. He had emaciated from all the trekking and hunger. His cheekbones stood out like road signs. Then his eyes fell on his shoes. He remembered all his nicknames, Uncle Diagonal and Mr. Bring Two People. He Each nickname pierced his heart like an arrow. He clutched his phone tighter, staring at the screenshot of his unreachable money, and sobbed loudly. Is this how greatness ends? Just a screenshot. He leaned back on his bed, held the phone to his chest, and moaned harder. For him, that screenshot was not just an image, it was the grave of his dreams. After mourning his screenshots like a widower, Raymond laid on the bed one night with his stomach growling louder than NEPA transformer. Hunger had humbled him beyond motivation. He looked at his vitamins stacked in cartons around the room and angrily said, as if someone was in the room with him, "Na food I need, not supplements." The next morning he woke up and made a decision. Enough of all this dashboard and PV points. If I don't eat soon, my enemy may just spy. So he carried his one and only bare shoes and went out. Not for prospect this time, but for a proper job. As he walked, his legs felt weak from lack of food, but hunger was now his fuel. He asked around, stopped at shops and checked notice boards, until by pure luck he stumbled on a pressing print shop looking for an assistant. The owner, a stout man with ink stains on his hands, looked him up and down. "Young man, can you work?" Raymond nodded with all the energy he could fake. "Yes, sir. I can press. I can carry paper, and I can even trek to deliver your jobs." The man chuckled. "Good. The salary is small, but at least you will eat and maybe get a good shoe." At that moment, Raymond almost fell to his knees. The words "you would eat" sounded better than all the testimonies of houses, cars, and real estate he had heard in the seminars. He started the job immediately. The smell of ink, the sound of machines, and the sight of real customers paying real money gave him a kind of peace he hadn't felt in years. For the first time in a long while, he went home with bread, beans, and pure water, not dashboard dreams. 2 weeks into his new job at the pressing print, Raymond was already feeling like a human being again. At least there was routine, and at the end of the day, he carried home small change. But the problem was, the small change did not reach anywhere at all. One morning his hunger was louder than his footsteps. He had brushed his teeth with nothing but ordinary salt because there was no money for toothpaste. As he walked to work, his gums were burning, his stomach was empty, and his mind was heavy. That afternoon he summoned courage and went to the manager. "Sir, please, I need to ask for something important," Raymond began. "I know I've worked only 2 weeks here, but please, I need an upfront payment. I don't even have money for common toothpaste. This morning, I brushed with salt. Sir, I am suffering." The manager put down his pen and stared at him for a long moment. Then he sighed and said, "Raymond, you don't need to explain. I've been trying to catch my breath since you opened your mouth." Raymond touched his lips in embarrassment, but the manager smiled kindly. "Don't worry, I will give you something to hold yourself." He counted some cash and handed it over. Raymond almost knelt down in gratitude. "Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir. May your own dashboard never crash." He rushed out with joy, already planning to buy toothpaste, bread, and maybe even sardine to celebrate. But as he turned into his streets, he saw a group of well-dressed young men waving flyers. "Hello, brother," one called. "Do you want to change your life? Then you have to join our business. All you need to do is to bring 2 people, and those 2 will bring another set of 2 people." Before the man could even finish, Raymond exploded. "Shut up!" I said. "Keep quiet there before I cross you today. I have been in your shoes now. I was trekking like the Israelites because of this same bring 2 people. See my shoe, bent like a question mark. See my stomach, flatter than your business card. I brushed with salt this morning, Iyo, because this bring 2 people business emptied me without mercy." The recruiters were stunned, but Raymond didn't stop. He poured everything out. how he was mocked, how his dashboard money died with the company, how his family now called him Borrow and Forget, and how children nicknamed him Uncle Diagonal. He shouted, "If I ever see any of you near my area again, we will go physical, and it is only thunder that will separate us that day." The men looked at each other, quietly folded their flyers and walked away. One of them muttered, "Kai, this guy just summarized everything we are going through." Raymond wiped his face, adjusted his little upfront money in his pockets and walked on with pride. He continued at the pricing print shop. Day by day, his cheeks began to feel out again. His steps grew stronger because he was now handling real work and seeing real money. One afternoon, while delivering some printed materials to a nearby office, Raymond met a well-dressed man who looked like someone whose shoes had never known suffering. The man collected the documents, noticed how careful and polite Raymond was, and asked, "Young man, how long have you been working at that print shop?" "Not too long, sir," Raymond replied, adjusting his shirt. "Well, I give it my best. This job is what put food on my table when hunger almost finished me." The man smiled. "I like your honesty. I actually own a bigger company and I need someone who can handle supplies and client relations. The pay is far better than what you are earning over there. Will you like to work with me?" Raymond blinked twice as if to confirm it wasn't another bring two people trap. "Sir, is it real job or dashboard job?" The man laughed heartily. "It's real job. Your salary will enter your account every month." Tears nearly filled Raymond's eyes. He quickly accepted, and when he returned to the print shop, he went straight to the manager. "Sir, I came to thank you. Because of you, I can now move to another level. You gave me upfront when I needed it, and you gave me a chance when nobody else did it. I have gotten a better offer. May God bless you." The manager looked at him and shook his head. "Raymond, I am happy for you. Go and succeed, and remember to always buy toothpaste before you use salt again." They both laughed. Raymond resigned with peace, but the bond he formed with the manager remained strong. Till date, he still calls the man my first destiny helper, and anytime he looks at his old bench shoes which he kept, he just shakes his head and says, "From diagonal shoe to destiny connection." In this his new job, Raymond discovered something amazing. All those months of network marketing that seemed wasted, trekking like Israelites, chasing prospects and talking until saliva dried up, had actually given him an oratory skill. He could now speak with confidence, persuade clients with sweet words, and explain even the hardest things in a way that made people nod their heads. In meetings, when others stammered, Raymond would stand boldly and talk as if he had been born in a microphone. His boss noticed quickly that this young man has something and decided to pay close attention. Within just 3 months, Raymond's results spoke louder. His ability to win clients and negotiate deals made the company more money than expected. The boss had no choice but to promote him. For the first time in his life, Raymond received a salary alert that made sense. He cleared all the debts, and the same family who once mocked him now smiled whenever he visited. His wardrobe improved, and yes, he bought several stray shoes that walked proudly, no longer diagonal. He started living a worthy life, peaceful, debt-free, and respected. Even though the memories of Uncle Diagonal and Dashboard Daddy still made him chuckle, he was grateful because at the end of it all, the network marketing didn't give him money, but it gave him skills, and those skills opened the real door of success. And today, his story reminds us that sometimes our biggest struggles prepare us for our biggest breakthroughs, and what looks like wasted years may be the very training ground for destiny. Hey, African Souls by Calmo Tribe, how are you all doing? For me, I am doing just fine. I hope you all had a good laugh. Well, before we leave today, I would like to say this. Life had shown us that not everything that works for Mr. A will work for Mr. B. Raymond's upline bought cars, traveled abroad and even invested in real estate from the same business that nearly killed him with trekking and hunger. The truth is, success doesn't follow copy and paste. Your destiny is unique. Sometimes what looks like an open door for one person may be a closed trap for another. That's why before you dive into any fast money opportunity, stop and ask yourself, is this my path? Do I have peace about it? And will this help me grow or only waste my time and resources? Remember, God blesses people differently. The fact that someone else succeeded in one thing doesn't mean it's your calling. Don't let envy, pressure, or sweet words push you into a journey that will only give you nicknames like Uncle Diagonal. Instead, focus on finding where your own gifts, skill, and purpose can shine. So, dear Camel Tribe, let me leave by asking you this question. Have you ever chased something just because it worked for someone else, let's say a friend or a relation, only to realize later that it wasn't meant for you? What lesson did you learn from it? Please drop all your answers and your thoughts about the story in the comments, as I will respond to every one of them as I usually do. Don't forget to give the story a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, I beg you to please punch on that subscribe button. Until I bring the next interesting story your way, it's a goodbye from here, and God bless you.